Here's more wrestling news for November 17th, 2022. And we're starting off this afternoon with Survivor Series, as this year's event will mark the first time that Wargames will be used on the main roster. It was previously reported that the men's match was going to see the Bloodline face the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens, but those plans have changed. With Owens injured, fans have speculated on who will replace the prize fighter, but the answer is nobody. PW Insider reports that despite initially being advertised as a 5-on-5 match, the men's Wargame contest will see the Brutes and McIntyre face Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn in 4-on-4 action. That means that Solo Sikoa has been pulled from the match due to Owens' injury in what would have been the first premium live event match for the former North American champion. As the report stated, those plans could still change, and we may still have a 5-on-5 after all, but if so, it certainly won't include Kevin Owens. At AEW All Out, MJF made his return to TV after a 3-month hiatus, but his huge return was completely overshadowed by what happened after the event. The entirety of All Out was overshadowed by CM Punk's post-show comments and the backstage fight, and MJF is hardly pleased. Taking to Twitter, MJF was, as usual, straight to the point when he addressed what happened with All Out, saying, "There's been a shadow casted over AEW by a bunch of bullshit. We are closer than ever to stepping out of the darkness and into the light. We have the roster, we have the platform, now all we need is stability, change, and leadership. We need the devil. I'm ready." The fact that MJF even addressed what happened with All Out is a big deal, as after the event, AEW's roster were reportedly banned from speaking publicly about it or even mentioning CM Punk. The fact that AEW talent are now allowed to speak about Punk and his, quote, bull is already adding credence to the belief that CM Punk is done with the company and MJF is ready to move on from the so-called best in the world. Now at Crown Jewel, Logan Paul took on Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, but the Maverick had some backup of his own. Not only did Jake Paul come to his brother's aid, but Logan's co-hosts from the Impulsive podcast also interfered, though, like Logan himself, they did not leave unscarred. In the most recent episode of the podcast, Mike Majlik disclosed that he had suffered an injury and pointed the finger of blame squarely at the Usos. Majlik said that his jaw came out of place during their interaction with Jimmy and Jay, and told anyone who thinks wrestling is fake to check out the bruises all over his back. Despite being on the losing end of things, Crown Jewel proved to be a turning point for Logan Paul, who earned the respect of countless fans, but neither he nor his posse left Riyadh in one piece. When Paul Wight joined AEW, it was reported that Tony Khan had plans for his The Waterboy character, Captain Insano. The character, as seen in the 1998 Adam Sandler comedy, is an over-the-top wrestler, but despite Paul being with AEW for over a year, his alter ego didn't emerge. This all changed during last night's Dynamite, as the former world champion made a cameo as Captain Insano in the music video for the Acclaimed. The video also parodies Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, who will challenge the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team titles at Full Gear. The Captain Insano character was meant to appear at the Dynamite Grand Slam in September, but that obviously didn't happen, but it's better late than never for Paul Wight's alter ego. In September, Braun Strowman made his return to WWE over a year after his release in June 2021. Strowman's release was certainly a surprise, as he had been in the WWE title picture at the time and was said to have been one of the company's highest paid performers. Now, Braun is back, but on his To Be The Man podcast, Ric Flair had serious doubts that WWE had to do much to lure him back. Flair explained that there's no way Braun is earning as much as he did in his first WWE run, and likely accepted a lower offer just so he had a chance to return and get regular work. While Braun probably accepted less to return, this lower offer is likely more than anywhere else would have paid him, and a fortune compared to what he'd be earning with Control Your Narrative. Strowman had a solid match with Omos at Crown Jewel, but has backstage heat over his comments about indie wrestlers, and the monster among men would be wise to remember who is paying his checks. Earlier this year, the WOW Women of Wrestling promotion relaunched, though not after quite a bit of controversy. The brand was meant to be built around Tessa Blanchard, but her heat in the wrestling community stopped that from happening, and now we're learning more about what could have been. Fightful Select has learned that WOW reached out to multiple ex-WWE superstars about work, including the Inspiration, aka the Iconics, Ruby Soho was also called about possibly working with the company, but she declined, and given that she'd debut for AEW not too long after this call, it's not hard to see why she said no. The report adds that what was originally pitched to talent changed dramatically from the kind of presentation the company used later on. Even without some high-profile names, WoW Women of Wrestling is now on the air and is hoping to build some momentum now that they have regular TV time. In July, Vince McMahon retired from WWE over the investigation into him, but many have been suspicious of his sudden departure. There are some who have suggested that McMahon is still working for the company behind the scenes or in some advisory role to the company, but that isn't the case. As Fightful Select reported, not only is McMahon gone, but WWE's roster aren't hearing from their former boss at all anymore, who is learning how to live away from wrestling. Those that we spoke to within WWE say they don't necessarily hear from Vince McMahon much these days, but that he's been known to be out and about more than he was while still in WWE. There was a time when McMahon's voice would send a shiver down the spine of a WWE superstar, no doubt fearing that some random action of theirs had infuriated the boss, but McMahon is gone, and with how the company is done in the new regime, he's unlikely to ever return. Now in late 2002, Kurt Angle debuted his new protégés, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, and the trio would collectively be known as Team Angle. While the group under the management of Paul Heyman was impressive, they were split within a year, and Charlie Haas is suspicious as to who made that decision. Speaking to Steve Fall at NBC Sports Boston, Haas accused a jealous Triple H of having the group ended, saying that the Game and Evolution were jealous of the success of Team Angle on SmackDown. Haas even suggested that Triple H decided that just dismantling Team Angle was better than trying to match their in-ring skill, but we should add that this is just speculation on Haas's behalf. With Shelton Benjamin still with WWE, we doubt that he'll agree with Haas's take and speak out against WWE's head of creative and talent, but we wonder what Team Angle would have done had they not come to a quick end. After Team Angle split, Haas would form an odd couple tag team with Rico, whose flamboyant personality was in stark contrast to Haas's serious style. Unfortunately for Rico, he is paying the price for his character, as Haas explained how at the time, many wrestlers refused to work with him. Haas added that when wrestlers did work with Rico, they'd deliberately try and hurt him, saying the former superstar is dealing with a lot of concussion issues these days as a result. It's wrong that Rico was punished in the ring all because he portrayed a character on screen, but given how the wrestling world treated flamboyant male characters at that time, it's sadly not at all surprising. And we're ending with Saraya, who will compete in her first match in nearly 5 years when she takes on Britt Baker. After Saraya's December 2017 injury inside Madison Square Garden, many thought a match would never come for her, but that wouldn't have fazed Tony Khan. Speaking on Inside the Ropes to promote Full Gear, Khan said that even had Saraya not been cleared, AEW would have found a role for her. We were very interested to have her in AEW, and she was very optimistic she could get all the clearances and really gave me her word that she was gonna be good to go. To me, I didn't want to push her. I thought it was gonna be great to have Saraya in AEW. Look, if she'd come back and said, I want to be here, I'm not sure if I can wrestle with my injuries, I also would have said, this is still a great home for you. I think we would love to have a star like Saraya as part of our wrestling company, a big wrestling star like you, even if you can't get in the ring. But I think it's worked out great. This is the ideal scenario, this kind of a great match. Plans have really fallen into place the last few months to have a big match at Full Gear this weekend like Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Saraya. Saraya has said that she wasn't cleared when she debuted in September, and that her match will no doubt be under a microscope when she competes this weekend. We can only hope that this match goes off without a hitch, and while AEW wasn't even a thing at the time of her injury, this is about the British wrestler has been waiting for a long time. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.